We are live. Unmute.
Unmute yourself, Colin.
Grace and peace. Thank you guys for attending. This is the Black Professional Men General Body Meeting. Thank you guys for attending. Welcome. We're streaming on a couple of different platforms. Tonight's meeting, the question we'll start off with is, what is a financial ecosystem business to business support? Our key speaker for tonight, I believe the first speaker will be Brother Benroy July. Got it. Brother July, please introduce yourself to the public, and thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So as Colin mentioned, my name is Benroy July. I am a corporate attorney. I'm a partner in the corporate and finance group at Miles and Stockbridge, which is a law firm here in Baltimore. I'm originally from Jamaica. And I say that just because I think it has some application to what I want to talk about later on. From Jamaica, and I've been here in Baltimore for the past 9 years. And so, look, I've been invited, I think I've been pretty vocal about just my views in regards to economic empowerment for Black people generally. And so I've been invited to kind of talk about my views on the financial ecosystem here in Baltimore. And, I come from a framework of it's, because of the fact that I'm in corporate law, it's it's like the story about the spook behind the door, right? You're living in one reality, but you're operating in another. And so you get to kind of understand how things are being done, and with the hope that you can come back and bring it to your community to be helpful, right? Yes. And I have to say that, during this COVID, it's kind of highlighted to me some of the issues with our system and how we're kind of thinking about things. Particularly, obviously COVID has highlighted the discrepancies in capital within Black communities and other communities who have had privilege for generations, is right. It's a complete generational head start. And so obviously there are going to be benefits, but I don't think that I think we talk about the generational differences, and I don't think people quite understand the real implications of that. And
Mr. Vimroy, we're going to hold the full presentation. And you're going to come on as the featured speaker. We're going to go into the agenda, okay, and kick the meeting off. I'm going to bring up the agenda now, but thank you for the great intro. And so, like I said, hold on one second. I'm going to bring up the screen. Thank you for those who are tuning in, cyberspace streaming. So share screen. Okay. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. So this month, for our last general body meeting of the year, financial ecosystem, as Collins has mentioned, will be our topic. I'm Shadidi Laser, Partnership Chair Extraordinaire for Black Professional Men. We're going to start this meeting off with our opening prayer, no matter what your denomination may be. We will bow our heads in the spirit of gratitude. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to fellowship and to provide value to our community through knowledge, through education, and through fellowship. Please allow the words that are shared to touch the hearts and minds of those who are attending both on Zoom and those who are watching this through stream or the replay. And please allow anything that may be blocking information to just let it flow and for us to have a good meeting this evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, so about Black professional men, we're going to kick things off first with the introduction. So the introductions will be relevant to those who are on our screen. So we'll start, and I understand that everyone's screen is different on your view. So I'll just call people's names, and then please unmute yourself, and then do a brief intro. So the intro is not necessarily the Gettysburg Address. It is who you are. You can talk about, let's say, your business. Talk about your passion for the community, and that can be the intro from there. Let's start with Mr. Allen, Dalen Allen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dalen Allen, and it's a pleasure to be here. I won't give you my whole spiel. I'll wait to that 6:30 mark. But I look forward to sharing some more insight about what I do, what I'm looking to do, and my experience overall as a professional.
Okay, headed over to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Everett Smith. Come on down.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to Black Professional Men's General Body Meeting. I am the chair for the masterminds once a month on the first Mondays. I welcome you all to come and join me for some interesting topics. I am also the recording secretary of Black Professional Men. I want to ensure the future of the Afro-American males, and that is the core. Thank you very much for your time.
Next, we pass the baton to the Leroy McKenzie.
Not the Leroy. Is that like the Ohio State?
There you go. You get the reference. You get the reference.
Good evening, everybody. It's your boy Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder, Black Professional Men. I am the host of the Brand New Development Series, which comes the third Monday of each month, brought to you by JNF Enterprises LLC and Black Professional Men, bringing you men personal and professional tips, interviews that will enlighten, empower, and impact you, and then also to educate, activate, and elevate you to your next level. I want to thank everybody for coming in to the general body meeting this evening, and for Colin being our gracious host this evening, and Shadid as well. So looking forward to a great meeting this evening. Thanks everybody for coming.
Okay, transitioning on to a old and familiar face, but definitely a fixture in our community, the John Harris. Unmute yourself, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. It's been a while. Some very familiar faces. Very good to see you all here. Some new faces, and even more uplifting to see that. So I'm here to work.
Excellent. On to Jonice Jones.
I think she had to step away. Shadid.
Okay, well,
Yeah, she's left a
Jonice
note. Says she's...
is handles many roles within our organization. Black professional men would not be who we are without the ladies who provide the administrative support, keeps the seams together for our organization, and that is what role Jonice plays within the organization. Thank you for all that you do. Let's move on to Miss Cullins. Miss Cullins, unmute yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Tanera Collins. I am an environmental scientist here in Baltimore, celebrating my friend Dalen Allen and my brother, Kai.
My name is Kai Collins. I'm a civil engineering student at Morgan State.
Listen, the professional and Black professional man is represented this evening. We have scientists in the building, but Miss Sarah Ray, please unmute yourself. Okay, moving on to Mr. Samuel Brown.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Brown. I am the owner of two companies. One, we do IT. Another one is we do durable medical equipment, and we travel to the people that cannot travel to us, being those that are without transportation or they're just bedridden. So that's one of the things we look into. I mean, that's one of the things we do to help improve the community around our area because they just can't move. But just real quick, I was just invited here a few moments ago, and I'm looking forward to learning from everyone in this in this forum.
Thank you for attending. Next, we have Larry of Larry's Anything here on the screen. Please introduce yourself. Your audio is not coming through, but
Is it coming through now?
yes, it is.
All right. Hey, how you doing? My name is Larry Patterson. I own three companies. First company is Larry's Anything Goes, where I sell a variety of retail products and do referral marketing with Freebay. Other company, Patterson Properties, where I wholesale real estate throughout the DMV area. Last company is Patterson Rental Properties, where I buy and hold rental properties throughout the Midwest area and whatnot. And I'm just here to gather a lot of great information and network with people, and looking forward to a great meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just checking in on the stream, you are tuning in to the general body meeting for Black Professional Men. I just want to point out, because we do have a business network, there are about 27 businesses being represented on this Hollywood Squares layout. Lots of talent on the virtual stage. And that's always a beautiful thing to see. So Cornell, please introduce yourself to the people.
Hey everybody, I'm Cornell Smith. My tag may say Braden, that's my 6-year-old, but I'm the CEO of I'm Fitness. And I just finished a workout, so I had to hurry up and shower, so that's why my camera was off. So glad to see everybody here, and I know Shadi will share it later, but make sure you guys put your info in the chat because my mouth is already salivating for wanting to connect with some of you business owners. So thank you.
And yes, one thing is at the bottom of your screen, once the information is entered, so you can put your name, your business, your email, website within the chat. And you can, there's 3 dots at the bottom, and you can save the chat so that when the video ends and the live stream ends, then it will be saved to a folder on your desktop. Now, moving forward, Mr. Tay Johnson, please come on down. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, we get this video. Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing well.
You all see, hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my name's Devontae, but I go by Tay. I am actually a business and data analyst out here in the DC area. I'm actually a native of Ohio. So I heard Ohio State earlier, so huge fan. But moved out here to Baltimore maybe about a few months. I've been in the DC area. My girlfriend actually invited me to the call. She's on here, Bianca. So what I do outside of my profession, I have 3 things. So I have 2 firms, a corporate finance firm, kind of a consortium with larger partners, institutions where we help provide liquidity for businesses, maybe Fortune 100 to upwards, regards to debt type financing, as well as I have a much smaller business firm where we work and focus on small business for financing called One Choice Lending Group. Our office based out of Ohio. Partner there and part owner, along with my uncle who's been in the industry for many years. But we work on the commercial real estate financing and small business financing on that end with private lenders. And then lastly, a representative for a company called Lend Table. He just recently got featured on Forbes, as well as Business Insider. So a good friend of mine from Ohio, he's a founder, so he just made Forbes 30 under 30 list. So those are, some of the three things I'm involved with on professional win.
Excellent, Tay. Thank you for that. And we will transition next to Miss Bianca Hardy. Miss Bianca Hardy, please introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Bianca. I'm a financial management analyst for the government in Baltimore. I grew up here and actually went to high school with Dalen, so I'm here to support him. And me and my boyfriend Tay are here to support Dalen and just enjoy the camaraderie and whatever information you all have to share. And hopefully we can contribute information and substance as well. So thank you for having us.
Side note, Mr. Dalen, you might consider a career in politics at some point, because the people, when you say show up, they show up. So just a side note. Siobhan, please unmute yourself and please introduce yourself this evening.
Hello, everyone. I am also here supporting Dalen. My name is Siobhan Holman. I am the co-founder of a Black professional organization called Blacks in IO, and we're a professional networking organization for Black IO psychologists, practitioners, and students in the DMV area. And again, I'm just here supporting one of our members, Dalen. So thank you for having me.
There's a theme. There's a theme. Next, Nikki, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Nikki and I'm in advertising, and I am also here to support my friend Dalen and learn about this organization and the topics.
Excellent. Next, thank you for coming. Next is Alexis Avery.
Hi, everyone. I am also here to support Dalen. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm here to support Dalen as well. Definitely impressed with the intro so far, so I'm really excited to see what we'll get out of this general body meeting. So I am a personnel research psychologist for U.S. Customs.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us this evening. Next is Miss Garrett. Please come on down, unmute yourself, introduce yourself.
Of course. My name is Naya. I'm once again here supporting Dalen. So I'm really excited to join in tonight and learn more about the organization. I am a budget and fiscal compliance associate in DC and a current master's of public policy student as well.
Okay. Now, Dalen, I'm not saying you need to run for president. Maybe like alderman, local. You got something going on here. So, we could work that out. So next is Anderson. Anderson, please come on down.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anderson A. Jean. I'm a professor, a history professor. I am transitioning from the Connecticut area down to the DMV, and I'm looking forward to listening and learning as much as possible.
Excellent, excellent. Chance, please introduce yourself. Unmute yourself, introduce yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hey, I'm Chance. I'm also here supporting Dalen. A little bit about myself. I have a bachelor's in biology, and I'm currently working at the hospital as a lab specimen provider. But just here to support Dalen, check you guys out, see what's going on.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming tonight. Now, the wonderful and talented Miss Kendra Davis, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group. Unmute yourself, please, Kendra, please. Okay. There's some
her audio's not
audio.
working. Yeah.
Okay. In addition to being social work extraordinaire. Kendra is the engine, the brains behind the youth development program, which is responsible for several programs within BPM, including Halloween trick or treat drive, where we're able to make sure the kids had candy this year, and a financial literacy tour that is providing business and financial strength to schools and students as early as the third grade. It does not happen without the great Kendra Davis. Now, we have the general, Kendrick Tillman. Please introduce yourself.
Is my audio live? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Want to show off this good old website somebody put together here right there. That is such a sexy website. My name is Kendrick Tillman. I serve as the vice president of Black Professional Men. That's an image of our website that Mr. Shadi put together for us. We want to thank him for his expertise and his wisdom. We have a product called Math Through Music I'm excited about. I live and breathe Math Through Music right now. It's a product that teaches young people how to DJ using 5th grade through 9th grade math. So I'm excited about that. As first in the country, we partner with an organization in Canada where they have the Canadian federal government did a 5-year study. It actually doubled math scores there. So I'm excited about the data we have from the Canadian federal government and from Stanford University that just basically did a study on engagement for those students that said, I don't like math, it's terrible. They saw that 17% said they hate math. And then through our program, they went down to 3% that said, I hate math. So I just love that we can expand here in Baltimore, Maryland, and the tri-state and in the United States. We're nationwide. I'm in Canada. I was just speaking. I'm excited about this. So anybody that knows any educators, just share the message about Math Through Music. And the way we get there is through, virtual solutions. So I'm the guy that can change the background by pressing a button and add some graphics to your Zoom calls or your particular events that you may have. Again, Black Professional Men turns 30 years old next week or next year or next couple weeks. It's only a couple weeks away. This is monumental to stand on shoulders of many people. I serve as a vice president of programs, and thanks to my sis, she definitely stepping up and just making sure that we can stay organized. Black men like to build. We're not good at nurturing things all the time. So I just appreciate the teamwork that makes the dream work, and all of our partners coming together to connect their goals with some of our partners' goals. Is just making us stronger and stronger and stronger, y'all. So I'm excited every day to see what we all come up with and put our minds together. And I just want to make sure I follow everybody. Hopefully, if there are any iPhone people here, we can catch up on Clubhouse, because I'm a little addicted to that right now. That I like the speaking that's going on, the energy that's going on, and it's just like here at BPM. So again, we turned 30 years old. It's 1991. Like I was in high school when this was created. So just to be to continue to stand on the shoulders of great men that came before us and making it stronger and stronger with our president, just really just having a mind that should be bigger than this Zoom call, that allows us to kind of all come together and make that vision come together. And so I just appreciate each and everybody that's viewing this on my stream, because I'm streaming as well. And I'm looking forward to hearing from my good friend Vemroy. Y'all don't know he's a professional boxer as well. I don't know if he lets everybody knows that, but he's also a genius when it comes to law and to this financial industry. So we want to bring you the best of the best. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Allen. I'm looking forward to building with you, King, and I'm excited to see familiar faces here. I'll digress with that. My man Gerald just popped on. That's my guy too. I think I see you, Mr. Anderson. How you doing?
So yes, my name is Shadi Kiwi Laser. I was born into small business and entrepreneurship. My belief is that family is the first business, and my mission is to leverage for-profit enterprises to rebuild broken and lost communities around the world. I'm a full-time entrepreneur with notable projects, including the official websites of Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. I am the president of an organization called SCORE, which is the nation's largest network of business mentors powered by Small Business Administration, guide and lead entrepreneurship within this region with a specific focus on balancing the tides a bit and making sure that there is more diversity and more inclusion for our businesses within the region. I serve as the partnership chair, formerly was the membership chair of this great organization. And with that being said, we are going to transition to our host, Collins, to introduce our speakers and the rest of the program for the evening. So I will share my screen, and Collins, please take it away.
Thank you, everybody. I am Collins. I am here to serve in the facility of hosting. We have done our introductions, and now we want to, are we moving into the partner spotlight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now for the partner spotlight, Mr. Dalen Allen, who everybody is here to see.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. My name is Dalen Allen. I want to thank Black Professional Men for even having the opportunity to be the member spotlight for this month. Really, it's a pleasure in this opportunity. As you can tell, I told all my family, friends, associates, and business partners about tonight. Only a fraction of them could be here tonight, so thank you for those who actually could show up and come. A little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm a proud Baltimorean. Everyone who knows me, who's actually been in my travels that I met, knows that personally. I will never talk bad about Baltimore. You can never say a bad thing about Baltimore and me not react to it. I went to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute for high school, attended Morgan State University for undergrad, and University of Baltimore for grad school. So as you can tell, I'm Baltimore through and through. Right now, what I do as a professional, I am a consultant. I work for DCI Consulting. There I produce AAPs, I work through data analytics, data visualization, and actually help out my clients to actually work through affirmative action reports. So anything that's related to discrimination, any issues around diversity, I'm your guy. But one of the things I'm also doing on the side is that I'm building a business called B. Smith Analytics. B. Smith Analytics is actually is a survey company to actually measure and produce satisfaction reports for organizations who actually serve clients. I'm one who actually believes that organizations who actually fail, that don't do well, actually do so because they don't really serve the clients well. No matter what avenue you're in, whether you're an entrepreneur, if you're in real estate, if you're in data analytics, if you're even working in a hotel, the number one thing that you do is customer service. And I believe that as organizations continue to grow, especially in this COVID-19 world, that we have to measure and respond to our customers. That means creating surveys, measuring that satisfaction, finding out what we do well, what we do not so well, and improving areas in which we can do that and do that effectively. I have a great experience doing that. I did it with data visualization, which is one of the things I really love, Dalen Allen. And I really want to grow that more. I look forward to connecting with everyone on this call to actually grow that business because I really think it's valuable. I really think it's valuable given the current climate that we're in, because client satisfaction is going to be the number one thing that actually helps people to succeed. When I think about organizations like Amazon, before I even purchase an item, I look at how well it served the customers that actually brought these items. So therefore, I believe that this niche, my expertise in data analytics, IO psychology, and data visualization is going to be the key to actually moving us as a group forward. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Again, thank you everyone who joined tonight. I look forward to connecting with you after today's call. Feel free, I will share my info in the chat. I'll provide my email address for you. And please reach out to me if you want to build, network, talk through some ideas that you may have, and potentially even help me out. Again, it's a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to everyone after the call.
Thank you, Dalen, for sharing. Thank you for this great turnout. And thank you for being a proud representative of Baltimore. We really appreciate that. Like you mentioned, I do encourage everyone to share their information. here in the chat for those that are on the actual call. For those of you that are watching through streaming services, whether it's Facebook, share your information in the comments below. We're all about connecting, especially networking in our community. So be sure to share your information, share your contact, connect. Don't be afraid to reach out and network. Um, uh, Good brother Leroy has connected me to a lot of people. He's a master at networking. So don't be afraid to reach out and network. We all have someone and something in common, and we all here to build. Our next speaker.
There was a question in the chat there, Colin, really quickly. There was one or a couple of questions they asked. They wanted to ask Dylan if we could really quickly, if he could give one goal that he has. Oh,
Well, I have many goals. I'll say my number one goal, which Cornell definitely knows, is debt freedom. If I can eliminate debt, my belonging, my financial tie to anyone but myself, for me, I call that freedom. Providing a service because I love it, but because I have a passion for it, that is everything else that comes after that debt freedom. That means I can provide my time, expertise, mentality, perspective, and my authenticity in a way that I wouldn't be able to if I owe Sally Mae money, you know? So that number one goal, I think, is the core of everything else I do. I think my friends can really speak to that. And that's number one.
and the second part of that is how can BPM assist you with reaching that goal?
BPM can assist me in reaching that goal by helping me to build my business, build my brand as an entrepreneur, using that network to actually help everyone else out. I believe that to be successful in the world, whether you're a family member or a friend, you have to work, you have to provide some type of service. One of my favorite quotes is that opportunity is dressed up in a t-shirt and overall. That means that you have to provide a service, you have to work, you have to do something for someone to actually help your own self out. So provide me an opportunity to connect with someone to actually build that business, build that work, and take it the next step further.
So you guys heard that plug for Cornell, right? Cornell brought Dale into the clique.
Yep, number one.
Well, thank you, Cornell, man. We appreciate the connection, and I look forward to working with you, Dalen. Myself, I just sent you a request on Facebook. I would love to hear more about your story and hear how I can serve you as well as I can serve you as you serve the community.
Appreciate it. I look forward to it.
The next guest speaker. Oh, we're right on time. The next guest speaker who gave a brief intro and who Kendrick let me know is a boxer. You know, he has great hands and footwork. Mr. Vinroy. Mr. Vinroy will be now speaking. You have the mic. You have the floor, Mr. Vinroy.
I want to clarify before we go. I am a former boxer. That was 5 years or so ago. I have no intention of getting hit in the face anymore. And now all my time is spent on business ventures. So let's just clarify that. I don't want anybody trying to run up on me, trying to fight me, or try to test my skills.
Hey, Ben, you're not trying to get in the ring with Mike Tyson?
You're gonna hold that for a second because I actually was talking to I beat Mike Tyson's 53-year-old butt, but that's besides the point. I want to, first of all, I started earlier jumping into my talk. I clearly am excited about this topic, but I wanted to men for having me. And secondly, I want to thank Mr. Dalen Allen because this man has brought a great audience to this thing. So appreciate you, appreciate all your friends and family that came to support you. And hopefully I can add something that is like insightful. So I was invited to talk about just like the financial ecosystem here in Baltimore. And quite frankly, being on this call is like really, it really kind of excites me because I recognize that it seems that you guys are doing exactly what I think needs to happen from a financial standpoint for the advancement of Black people. So again, I'll give a brief, just kind of background. I'm a corporate attorney. And so the reality is that you get to see very clearly kind of the discrepancies in wealth that are being generated in this country. I think coronavirus has actually exacerbated those issues. And I think, quite frankly, from my standpoint, I remember watching CNBC and it really kind of hit me. It was like, and this is going to sound controversial, and it's not something that it's a sad reality when I really came to it. But if we continue to operate the way that we are operating, it is impossible for Black people to catch up financially in this country. And I say that from the perspective, if you just think about just where we currently are versus where other groups are, and it's just a numbers game, right? When you talk about the fact that we have so many people that are out of work, that are, don't have any income, losing their jobs in this country, and to be very clear, understand that it is disproportionately impacting Black and brown people. But on the other hand, I want you to think about the fact that $13.1 billion has been raised through IPOs or SPACs over the course of this year, right? That to me just highlights how we're living in two very different worlds, right? And the reality is that if you just start thinking about the math on that, this is a matter of percentages. If you're getting returns, if you're starting at, right before this call, I just did a quick, just quickly just did some math, right? If you're starting with $100,000 versus somebody that's starting with $1,000, right? And both those groups are getting a 10% return on their money. The reality is that with each passing year, that gap actually widens, even if they're both getting the same amount, the same percent on their money, right? And so that is a framework that we really need to be operating from and thinking about. And it actually leads me to what I think is absolutely necessary. I said when I first started that if we continue to operate the ways that we are, that it is impossible for us to catch up. And look, I don't know if we will. I go back and forth as to whether or not we'll ever be able to catch up. But what I do know is that until we start working cooperatively, we cannot catch up, right? And quite frankly, what I see is that and why I'm so excited about the people on this call and what you guys have been saying is that it seems to be a very clear intentionality about trying to make sure to work together. At my firm, I started this initiative called the Miles. I'm a partner at Miles and Stockbridge. We started this initiative called Miles BBI. It's Baltimore Miles Black Business Initiative. And we started that in response to the George Floyd situation. And the reason why we started it was because after George Floyd, everybody, as is typical in predominantly white spaces, once anything of injustice comes about, they run and they ask, how can we help? And my simple answer was, look, I don't expect the firm to solve for social justice issues. What I do know is that a lot of what we're seeing is based on economic realities and the economic discrepancies of people in those communities. We can help that, right? And how can we help that? We can help that by using what we are good at to try to change the trajectory of businesses and creating businesses in those communities. Because the reality is that more businesses, to the extent that we are able to allow them to grow and to be profitable, particularly in Black communities, we hire more Black employees generally, right? And so you start to create a better ecosystem for Black businesses and Black companies in that ecosystem, right? And so what we did was that we, rather than trying to, do police reform or other goals, what we essentially said was that, and we were going to provide free legal services for Black owned businesses within our footprint, right? So we offered each company $20,000 of free legal service. The point being that we recognize that a lot of these companies, what I experienced through my career is that a lot of these companies, because of the wealth discrepancy in this country, Black businesses, we know that the vast majority of businesses get their first round of funding from friends and family. And the reality is that we don't have access to that same round of capital as other groups do. And if we do have friends and family who can give us some money on the front end, it's in much smaller numbers. And so what ends up happening is that these companies all are trying to save a nickel on the front end to get off the ground. They don't want to pay for legal services because everybody knows lawyers are expensive. And so what they end up doing is that they try to negotiate contracts themselves. They try to form the companies themselves. And then what inevitably happens is 5 years down the road, for the ones that are successful, because most companies fail, right? But for the ones that are successful, by that time, they come to me or someone that's in a similar role, and they ask us to help them in some bind that they're dealing with. And you start looking at the contract and you recognize that these things are completely wrong, or they are in positions that are absolutely detrimental for their ability to grow their businesses. And so we realize that just allow them the runway to get off the ground. After that, every business has to kind of fend for themselves, right? Theoretically. But if they can't even get off the ground and set up good contracts for themselves, set good deals, have good organizational structure, they are fighting from a deficit from the get-go. And so our hope with that is that ultimately we will end up getting so many businesses, the businesses that we're helping, get them off the ground so that they will at least have a fighting chance. I'll tell you, when we did this initiative, I thought that maybe, I knew that there was a need. The need has been overwhelming, right? Within the course of like 5 to 6 months, we've gotten over like 150 companies that need the assistance from the program, right? At some point, we actually had to take a pause and say, we actually can't take anymore. We don't have capacity, right? Because we still have to pay, still have to deal with our regular clients. And so it just that experience went to underscore how important it is for us to be focused on the economic realities of Black businesses and Black companies, because you think about all the talent and potentials that have been tied up in this community that haven't been able to be unleashed because they can't get off the ground, right? So when you start talking about that, the next phase of this whole conversation is a reality about we continuously are having this discussion around the need and the lack of access to capital for Black and brown companies. And I recently came to, I do a lot of work around like fundraising, like raising capital. And everybody knows the numbers, right? An infinitesimal amount of money goes to Black and brown founders, fund and banks. There was a recent report that just was in the Baltimore Business Journal that talked about how during COVID, lending to Black businesses is actually like decreased like as a percentage over the course of COVID, right? And so now you start talking about like how are these companies going to be able to survive without access to capital? And what I started realizing, and this is a very like pessimistic view, but I realized that like we are looking in the wrong places, because I am more and more convinced that there are answers to this access to capital problem that can be solved, at least in part, within our community. And so as a result, I actually we're trying a model. I started a group called Baltimore Young Professionals here in Baltimore. And initially, quite frankly, it started because we didn't know, when I first moved here from DC, I didn't know where to go and find the other Black professionals after work. It just felt like I would see them here and there during the workday, like if I was going to get coffee or going to lunch. And then after work, it just seemed like people scattered, right? And I just didn't know where to find them. So we started this group that initially was just purposes of like building a network of other young Black professionals. Over the years, it's grown to hundreds of people. And so what we started doing is that we eventually started transitioning into, it's cool for us to be drinking and hanging out and partying together. But the sign of true friendship is when we start doing business together. And so we started like doing these financial literacy topics because we realized that even within that group of people who are young Black professionals, that many of them just did not grow up having some of the conversations about financial literacy and were really kind of figuring this stuff out themselves. And so they didn't have kind of the foundational issues, the foundation to kind of address some of these issues. And as I was going through, because as I said, I'm a first generation, I was born in Jamaica, we moved here, and I make a good salary, but as there's a difference between making a good salary and trying to build wealth. And as I'm going through, so I bought some real estate. I have a portfolio in an attempt to build generational wealth for those after me. And as I was in the trenches trying to deal with this, I realized it is hard as hell to make that transition, right? That transition to actually creating wealth, you better be willing to, the depths of what you have to, the amount of discomfort that you have to get comfortable with in order to make that transition. And you think about, we're doing it at scale, right? And so how do you accomplish that? And so from BYP, we started these like informational sessions that we can just share topics about what's going on. So I don't want other people who are trying to get into real estate and trying to use it as a means to build wealth. I don't want them going through the same learning pains as I had to go through. So I'm trying to share as much information from them. Others, we have panels that they come and they share with us, because I don't know it all. I know a very small segment of what I know because of my experiences trying to develop real estate. But we've also had topics on opportunities for Blacks in tech. We have conversations about, business, like what I wish I knew from a business owner's perspective, and a range of topics that kind of touch on all these things that we need to talk about. We actually had a series based on the 444 album, Jay-Z's album, and basically talked about topics that he talked about on that album, right? About wealth generation. And from that, as we started seeing, there was this yearning, this desire to get the information, because we are trying to figure this stuff out, but we were still kind of doing it. Individuals are kind of trying to do their thing. And it became very clear to me that as we're talking about, it kept coming up, the issue of like, it's lack of access to capital. It's lack of access to capital. I've had issues that even though I have a good salary and I have real estate and I have a good net worth, I was still having issues getting money from banks. And so, how do you solve for that issue? And it made me go back to something that I grew up. I said I'm from Jamaica, and I grew up seeing my mother and my sister do this thing called a partnership draw. And in different countries, they call it different things. They call it susu, they call it all these other like different models. But it's basically, and I want to be clear, I am not talking about these lotus flower things or whatever they're doing where you put $100 up and you get back 9,000, right? We're talking about where my mother and her friends would put some money with $100 up, and every month one person got the full amount. And then the next month they put their money up, and then somebody else got that full amount. And as I was digging into it more and talking to people, because I know some very talented people that are actually doing apps around this concept, because they also came to the reality that we can help to solve some of these problems within our own community, right? And we know that, you know, Asian communities have actually utilized this mechanism in order to own much of the property that they have here in the US, because they pulled the capital and started their businesses, and they kept doing that model, right? And so what we're doing, what we started doing with BYP, and I wanted to start with a small group, because my fear was that if it gets too big, it becomes unwieldy. And what we did was we basically asked for people who were interested, and we said, hey, if you're interested, at one of our brunches, we said, if you're interested, sign on to this paper. And people signed up, and we said, hey, look, we're trying this model. You tell us how much money you are comfortable putting up every month. And it was $100, $150, or $200. And so people, you know, because I'm an attorney, I was able to draft a document that basically set up this fund that basically provided and allowed people to put in $100, $150, or $200 every month. And it allowed us, but the difference between that and the traditional partner or SUSU is that rather than distributing it every month, it just stayed we put it in an account for the purposes of growing so that you can then use it for investment purposes. We've been doing this for a year. And just people just put $100, $150, $200, and it's only like 16 of us or something like that, right? We've been able to actually, you know, it's not a lot, but it's better than we had, right? We currently have around like $30,000, right? And the great thing about that is that just recently, one of my friends, who is actually a guy that I knew from law school, I actually knew from high school. He's my fraternity brother, I'm an alpha. We went to college together, and he's in DC. He's doing some real estate development in DC, and he needed some bridge financing for a project that he's working on. And so he came to us, and he needed like $15,000. And so we were able to lend him the $15,000. But what was important about that point, right? It's not only that we were able to assist him as we, you know, so he could come to us and we could assist him in getting his project done. But the reality is that, because there were people in the group that were asking, you know, when are we going to start doing bigger projects? And I was like, look, let's think about this for a second, right? If you're putting $100 or $200 up a month, what would you have been doing if you had that money in your account? If you did not have the obligation to actually put it up. And my estimation is that many of the people would have either spent it, or you might have put it in a bank account. If you put it in a bank account, you know, maybe some people put it in the stock market, right? Maybe, but people who get, you know, maybe, right? But if you're absent being able to be successful in the stock market, if you're working with limited funds, you're only going to be putting in a bank account, and you're going to be getting back like some 0.2% return on your money, right? By us being able to aggregate capital, we're getting back 10% to 12% on our money. So just by being in this group, you end up getting outsized returns on your capital from what you otherwise would have gotten. And it made me realize that the power of capital and why it's so important is that not only does it compound on itself. And so you get to that point where $100,000 versus $1,000 compounding at 10%, the gap actually widens. But what it also allowed me to realize is that by aggregating capital, you actually put yourself in a position to get better returns, right? So when you think about those two realities, it compounds on itself and it actually affords you the ability to get higher returns, right? Until we get to the point that we start thinking about aggregating our capital, force ourselves into those brackets of getting additional returns, we are operating at a loss. Now, the issue with this, and the issue that we consistently, and why I want to keep these groups small, is that we know there's an issue of trust in our community. And we know that because we've seen it. We've seen us get screwed over before multiple times. And we get screwed over by everybody. We get screwed over by white people. We get screwed over by Black people. So if you come to me telling me you gotta do this, whatever, and we gonna put this money together, there's an issue of trust. And the good thing about what we did with BYP is we all knew each other, right? We drank together, we've hung out, particularly with Black people. I think there's an issue of trust that we are not as transactional as other groups, because many of us are operating from a position of scarcity or proximity to scarcity, right? We gotta lose this because we remember what it was being broke, and we don't want to go back there. And me losing this money brings me closer to being broke again. And so we fight that, and we are hesitant, and we don't want to do certain things. So we have to operate from a position of community and trust. And so what I realized with even BYP Group, as I was thinking about how do we scale this model, I came to the realization that I would prefer to do 10 groups of 10 people rather than doing one group of 100, right? Because within that cohort of 10, they'll get to know each other, they'll trust each other, they'll see who else put money in, there will be accountability. If you don't put your money in, it's much easier to keep track of the other 9 cats that haven't put money in, and so people can call them out. Once you get to too big of a scale, it just becomes unwieldy. And it made me realize that the potential of this is really in groups like Black professional men, right? Where there's familiarity, you kind of know each other, there's potentially accountability, but there is at least some, liquidity, some disposable income that you can put together. And let's talk about what happens when you're able to put the money together, because I think the entire theme of my discussion is about this intentionality that we need to have in order for us to advance. COVID has done a couple of things for me. It has made me recognize how important and how difficult our task is in trying to catch up and the need for collective action. But it has also allowed me to be much more intentional about the way I spend my money, right? I would tell you that during COVID, I would estimate that 80% of my dollars are spent with Black establishments. And if it's not a Black establishment, it's something hyper local, right? Like I'm in walking distance, right? And there needs to be a lot more intentionality to the way we do how we conduct business. And I will say this, right? One of the things that's been interesting to me is because I'm actually in the middle right now of doing 6. I'm renovating some properties. It's a block, and it has been interesting to me because 2 things are interesting. 2 things have been interesting to me. I have, and this just worked out. It wasn't intentional. I wish it was, but it wasn't intentional. I had a Black crew, I had a Hispanic crew, and I had a white crew working each on a project at one point. the white crew did not, they weren't really good, and so I ended up firing them. So it was a black crew and a Hispanic crew. And the thing that was the most fascinating to me about the Hispanic crew, and I have video on my phone, it's like everybody in that household comes to that work site, right? There are two women, they doing the painting. I got video of them bringing the wood in, right? And what it made me realize was that the reason why that was important or interesting to me is because as I was looking at it and I was thinking about it, right, I realized that they were all related. And so, and that was important because what I then realized is that their price was actually lower than the black crew's price. And I am putting together just in my head that the reason why they are able to do this is because they're all aggregating capital, because all that money is within one household, right? And so you can live easier when all that money is coming to that one household. It's about the pooling of capital, right? Whereas we are here and you're not overcharging me. He's charging me what's market. But his margins can't get to where the other crew is getting because they are pooling their capital, right? Because they live in the same house. There's no doubt in my mind that's his sister or his mom or his wife that are painting my windows and putting in countertops and bringing lumber onto this site, right? And so that goes to show you the potential of pooling of capital, right? But it also, I said that I also pay the black guys, and I have the black crew because in my view, if it's just a little bit more money, even if it's not ideal, I want to be at the lowest price possible. Everybody does, every business does, right? But I recognize that every dollar that I put in that man's hands is going to be able to help him potentially put other money, help feed his family. And I'm willing to take that sacrifice on the front end because quite frankly, over the course of the 15 years that I have this loan for, the extra $7,000 that I have to pay him per house, who cares, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm not saying that everybody got to go out and be paying extra, but we need to recognize the economic realities that we're facing. If there are other groups are intentional about how they spend their money, and we have to get to that point. Because if we don't, we're going to continue to sit here 10 years from now, we're still going to be talking about we don't have access to capital and the state of Black people. There are all these studies that show how that we're actually, our net worth is actually going to be decreased by 2030. And so until we start being intentional about that and start really trying to dig in and dive and like really intentional about our ecosystem, it's just setting ourselves up to be surpassed even more. And so that is ultimately my message, my views on the ecosystem. This COVID has pointed out to me three things. The difficult task that we have of trying to catch up, the importance of us being of us recognizing and working together to aggregate capital, and the necessity for us to be intentional about the ways that we spend our money. And until we start doing those things, the first task is going to be exponentially more difficult. And with that, I will get off my soapbox. And if anyone has any questions, I don't know how this works. Are we supposed to talk about this one? But
thank you. So I feel like you brought in a good point, and this is almost a continuation of the conversation we had at that breakfast. And what I find a lot of times in our community is people will say what to do, but they won't say how. They won't provide people 3 to 5 steps of how to do this, right? So I feel like we can make it easy for them. In 1997, I joined ACN, right? I learned 2 things when I did that, right? One, I hate multi-level marketing, right? And two, people are willing to follow what they see, but they may not be willing to do what's necessary, right? So to me, I feel like the opportunity is this. When you go to ACM, you go to any multi-level marketing thing, they always tell you to do what? Go to your warm leads. Go to the people that you know and speak to them on what it is you want them to do. So that means that everybody on this call can go to their circle that they know, 5 people, and say, hey, let's put up $25. Okay? Let's put up $25 for 6 months, not to do anything with it, but just to do it. After that 6-month period, we can discuss what we do after that. And that is a gateway process to get this started. Now, it's easier said than done. I know. You got that cousin. You don't want to know. You don't want him to know how much money you got. I get it. But what if you can just do it, just to do it, and see what happens? I'm interested to know who will be willing to take that challenge of pooling money with people that you know or with Black professional men for 6 months, just to see what we can do.
I'm just piggyback on that for a second, right? Because I've done this multiple times. I'm like a big proponent and believer in this model, right? Because I told you I have this group in Baltimore, but this initially started. I'm a part of a group of Black attorneys out of Philadelphia, and none of us had like a big. We started this probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and it started because none of us had. We were still kind of starting out in our careers. Everybody has different obligations. So we get it. You have a life, you have a wife, you have kids, you have a mortgage, you have things like that you just can't afford to be putting $20,000 up when an opportunity comes about. And that's just the reality. So we need to step from the point of like what the reality is. When opportunities come, you're not going to have just a pool of capital that you can throw at an opportunity, even if the opportunity comes up to you, right? And so what we did was we said, we don't have a pool of capital that we can put up. Why don't we just put up a number that we are all comfortable with, that we won't miss for the month, and it just comes out automatically and it goes into the account. And our number was at that point was $250 a month. And look, I get $250 a month is a lot for some people, and everybody has to kind of do it at their scale, right? But what we didn't, what you don't realize is that 12 of us ended up doing it. And what you don't realize, $250, okay, it might not be great, but like it ain't gonna kill you. So $250 a month by 12 people, that was $3,000 a month. And over the course of a year, that's $36,000. And over the course of 2 years, that's $72,000. And you start building on that every year. And what we started realizing was they gave me a loan for like $40,000 when I was trying to buy a house, right? And we were able to invest in Lime scooters, right? Like the scooters that we ride around the city, right? We started getting pre-IPO opportunities, or you could just be using it to finance your friends' businesses, right? And getting equity positions, or just have it be debt, right? And getting returns. And so there's just so many iterations of how it can be useful. And you don't need to start with big numbers. As Hassan, I think you're exactly right. Start with your friends and family groups. And I have put together a structure around it because I'm a big proponent of documenting things just so that everybody understands how this works. I don't want you coming back talking about you ain't know that you couldn't get your money out or any of these concerns, right? And I don't want you suing me. Definitely don't want you suing me, right? So we have a document together that says exactly how it works. And the reality is that even if it's 50 people, right? You put 50 people $50 a month by a couple people.
Formula,
Send
10
you-
people, and
you
we
know?
just have multiple groups of 10.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just have multiple groups of 10. Now the 10 can pool.
Exactly.
If they
When
say-
opportunities come up, you in different groups can look at opportunities together and pool capital, but you want to be within your close network because I know you and I can come see you if you ain't put your $50.
So let's do this, right? In the chat, say I'm in if you want to try this, right? And what I want to do is a 6-month challenge, but I don't want you to put up $25. Okay. We had this book club this weekend, and this guy dropped this amazing gem. Amazing gem. All right. He said he stopped eating out for a year and paid off all his debt. So the first challenge is, can you not eat out for 1 month? For 1 month, 30 days, don't eat out for that amount of time, and then invest that money with your pool. Okay. Now, I would recommend that the amount of money that you do save, you at least put half of it to your debt and then put the other half to the pool. But the first challenge would be 30 days, no eating out, and you pool that money. Nobody?
One thing, so I'm a part of 2 of these groups already. And the question I have for Mr. July is there can I purchase a contract from you? A pre-screen contract. I know the groups I'm a part of, we all came in as a LLC. So we are all on the board of LLCs, and that's how we pulled our money. We used a business making account. But is there a contract that we can purchase from you for whatever fee you use to draw up a contract? Just a standard contract so we can keep it, so we have the documentation. And what account do you recommend doing this in? Do you recommend having a separate account, or do you recommend using someone's personal account to send all the money to?
Definitely not in someone's personal account. As I'm gonna start there. What we have done and so as I said, I am so look I've drafted up a document that has certain mechanisms in there because you want to make sure this is not potentially viewed as a security and all this other stuff, so everybody knows what's going on and people are a part of the decision making process. It's a joint venture, like everybody's working together on this venture. So I have a contract that I've drafted up that we could definitely talk about purchasing or whatever. But we set up an LLC, similar to what you're doing. We set up an LLC. We get an EIN. Just open up a bank account, and we just do automatic deductions from your checking account into that account. And we have a structure where we have a president, secretary, and a treasurer. The treasurer is responsible for making sure that every month everybody puts their thing in. I just have a chart where you just go and you just check people's names down for the month, make sure everybody has put their money in so that there's accountability. We do it every month. And you just kind of, if it's automatic, you can, you get into a rhythm. And so that's how we've done it. And it's been we've done it successfully in the number of groups that I've been a part of, because as I said, I just think you need to have a document, because otherwise people are going to say they didn't understand something later on, and the document, just outlines everything clearly.
All right. So, because I know we talked about that document before, and I pitched it to our membership. And so hopefully when we pitch it this time, we may be able to get a little bit more traction to get something going. But I feel like if we're able to do this in steps, ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3, right? Make a pledge to for 30 days to not eat out. There's going to be a little bit of health in there, okay? But to do that pledge, and then that's a way to kickstart your ability to do that, because that's going to be money that you would have spent on something else. So now you're not determining, or mentally you're not determining what I got to give up.
Yeah, I really like that. I was in the Navy and I smoked a pack of cigarettes every single day. Right. But at $5 a pack, that's $150 a month. Right. So I really like that commitment to just stop eating out, because even if you're spending $5 a day eating out, you know, on a low skin, that's $150 a month that you can put away towards your future, and you can take advantage of certain opportunities.
Yeah. So absolutely. So I know we got a few people who said they're in. So I'm gonna reach out to you, okay? And I will put you in headlocks, so we can get this thing going.
There's a question within the chat from Cheryl about should BPM do this? And this is a good question. Will participation in this challenge be excluded, or let's say included for BPM members? So is it BPM members only? Is it open to the public? What are your thoughts on this, Mr. President?
So it's open to BPM members and BPM supporters. So if you want to learn how to become a BPM supporter and or partner, please reach out to me. Shadi can put my information there, and we can get things rolling. So everything matters, right? Everything is connected. So we have the concept of financial ecosystem, right? The way of how money is, it flows together. And we put out there to say, hey, you can redirect how you spend your money, and then use that money that you redirect to go towards investments, right? But let's talk about the other side of that. Let's bring up Cornell, if he's ready to talk about his health challenge. Are you there?
Hold on one second. He there. Hold on, he was there.
Okay. All right. Well, we can come back to him. We can come back to him. So the other part of this of the thing, and Collins, I can kind of let you take this over. I apologize for stepping in, but if you wanted to move to the mastermind, and we have the topic in the chat, so people can take a moment to look at that.
I see Cornell is attempting to join.
We'll come back to him.
I see him just change the name, but the mastermind topic, for those of you who cannot see the chat or haven't looked at the chat, the topic for tonight is, what is one business another business can use to operate their business? What is one business another business can use to operate their business?
So we're going to try to go around the room, but if we don't get to you, if you can put your response in the chat session. And so I can start it off, and just to say, my wife sells donuts, and the business that we use is Marcus Carrier, and he delivers our products throughout the entire DMV. So it's a Black-owned business, and he's able to help us expand where our products meets our consumers. Nobody else has a.
I was gonna go in a row, that way we can pick someone, and you want me to get started picking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll start out with on my screen, Mr. Shadid. We'll start out with Mr. Shadid.
So the idea is a vendor of some sort.
One business another business can use to operate their business.
Okay. I will say within the network itself, Mr. Troy Mobley in his printing services, he has printed not only the business network, which was very helpful for us to see what the ecosystem looked like, but also with various flyers, both in color. He's done a lot with booklets. So he's a go-to guy on all things printing. So Troy Mobley is my pick.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vinroy. Unmute yourself, please.
So I guess one business I would recommend is there is a business consultant, Will Holmes, who I've done some work with. He is the leader of the Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce. He is, he does consulting, business consulting. He works with Goldman Sachs, 10,000 small businesses. So I think I would recommend him.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dalen.
I'll chime in and say what I do as a survey developer, whether you are doing finances, whether you're handing out goods as a restaurant or even making donuts, reaching your customers, finding out how they met you, if they would recommend you, what went well, what did not go so well, I think that's a perfect opportunity. It helps the business out by fulfilling what they do well and just directing that as a laser focus to do more of that. So exactly what I do.
And what is it that you do again?
Survey development, data analytics, data visualization, and survey administration.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure.
If I was 2 years old, tell me what it is that you do.
If you ask your customers a question and you want to know that direct response into how well your organization did, what would you ask them?
I don't know.
No. I hope you answer that question.
Got you. Okay. Still don't understand what you do.
Surveys, asking questions.
Okay.
Taking that data from those questions and create an analysis of something that you can use.
Okay. All right.
So theoretically, if we were to use BPM.
It sounds like he needs to be a customer, Dalen.
Yeah, it sounds like, exactly. It sounds like you need to be a customer. In a sense that you had an organization that made cars, right? If your customers did or did not purchase your cars, you want to know why. You want to know how well you're doing in marketing. How well are you meeting your customer needs? How well are you meeting your stakeholders? My experience, my background meets all those questions plus some.
Right. I'm sorry. So, no, I'm sorry. Thank you. So I was just trying to get it where I think you was speaking a little too technical, and a lot of people may not be able to fully understand exactly what problems you can solve for them.
Okay. Well, simply put, satisfaction surveys, customer satisfaction.
There we go. I like it super simple.
Thank you. Brother Leroy.
Okay. Well, I actually I'm going to use two. One is going to be you, Brother Everett, with your photography business that you have, because I know for me, not only with the entrepreneurs that I have, that I do consulting for, they need a photographer to take headshot, whether it's headshots or pictures of their certain pictures that they may need for their websites and everything like that to go to, in addition to authors who need headshots again too, but then also put press kits together. So they need to have pictures to be able to go on to that. And then the other one is brother Vinroy, with him doing the business consulting. I mean, being a corporate attorney, where he deals with contracts for entrepreneurs and for businesses. So those would be two that I would say would be in my business ecosystem.
Nice.
Thank you for the plug as well. Mr. John, Brother John.
I'm just glad no one got this. Actually, was prompted by Mr. July. The Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce. It's a collection of Black business owners, nonprofits, and commercial organizations, and utilizing those individuals, those organizations and groups to really provide the services. And they're all kind of captive audience right there and eagerly willing to support. So Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome. DJ 5 Star. DJ 5 Star, are you there?
You may be muted. Wait, you have to unmute.
There you go.
Okay, I'll stay off camera though. I was gonna say Holloway Tax Service. That's my accountant. Can't have financials without a good accountant. So I appreciate that. And just for clarity, I do serve as the president of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, and my good friend and partner Will Holmes is the board chair for the Baltimore City Chamber. And thank you for that, Ben Roy. That's one of my good friends, Will Holmes, and BPM member.
Awesome. Thank you there, sir. Mr. Anderson.
I have two. I'm looking to relocate to Baltimore, but I have a friend who has a tax service. He does accounting and tax service and mortgaging. And since I'm a professor with education, because we have a nonprofit up here in Connecticut, we're looking to open a chapter in Baltimore. It's called Faith Act for Education, where we work with the school board system to improve the quality of education in the schools and teacher pay in the cities in the state of Connecticut. So we're looking to open a chapter down in Baltimore next year. So I think those are the two I would use.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Mr. Collins. The host, the moose.
Yes, sir. So your order is a little different than mine. I was like, he skipped me already. But so for me, I am a coach. I really help men develop. I'm a male development coach. My passion is to help men get better. And one of the resources I use is JNF Enterprises. Brother Leroy McKenzie has given me great advice, great consultation to really help me strategize and cultivate my business, just to narrow down my mission and my message.
Thank you, sir. Sister Janice.
All right, guys. I definitely believe that what can help another business is definitely accounting, just keeping your books, and also Mr. Vinroy. He does contracts, learn your paperwork, read the paperwork and stuff like that. And also the accounting with Rashid definitely could help each other out and help with the business.
Thank you there. Brother Cornell.
Yes, so I took this question a little bit differently. So I would think that you use a business that covers your weaknesses. So, somebody like Dalen, that's up my alley. So for anybody who might not have heard, I'm a fitness guy. So admin, spreadsheets, all of that kind of data entry stuff is not my forte at all. So, I can, get people interested. I can make friends, but, follow up, send them an email. That's not my thing. So, anybody, I would say anybody that can cover your weak spots.
All right, thank you. This is Sally. Naya. Okay.
You
Mr.
don't have to
Tay?
come to the camera. You can just speak from behind if you want.
Yeah.
I think we might have to unmute them though. Maybe, I don't know.
No, they can unmute themselves.
Gotcha.
Mr. Tay. Okay. Mr. Samuel.
Well, I would have to say I agree with everyone that said having a great CPA. But fortunately for one of my businesses, which is medical, my office manager is or used to work in accounting, so that's fantastic. But the strong suit for us is the insurance agents that go out there to speak to people that we can't reach and telling them about what we do and how we can help them.
Thank you, sir. This is Tanera.
I would say I'm an environmental scientist. So if you have like a brick and mortar location for your business, it's always good to think about how you can make your business environmentally friendly. You can get great tax write-offs and just pay less in general when you fix your place up to be more environmentally friendly. So if you use an environmental consultant, which is basically what I do, then it works out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Miss
put
Sarah.
information in the chat session, please.
Miss Sarah. Sister Bianca.
Hi. I think that employees assistance programs are very important for the mental health of people's employees. I think that's something that a business could use to grow themselves and to keep their employees not only sane but safe and healthy.
Okay, thank you. Miss Nikki.
Hi, my name is Nikki again, and I'm in advertising. So if you need like advertising for your business, I can help you. Or I know a lot of other brothers and sisters because I work in that field who are good at designing websites, flyers, or promotions, or cracking algorithms to like build social media and public relations and different things in that field. So I think that's vital to your business.
Thank you. Thank you. Please put your information in the chat. And before this ends, to your bottom right of the chat, it's 3 dots. And what you want to do is click that and you can save the chat on your computer. That way you'll have this information readily available for you. Okay? Thanks, Brother Shadi. All right, I'm gonna move on. Mr. Anthony.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I think kind of reiterating some of what some of the other panelists have said. I think a business like Dalen's would be perfect for a business today, especially since not only is data important for your own internal information, but it's also important to understand what type of ads you can put out there on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Sister Ashley.
What I essentially do is I'm a playground inspector. So someone who is a contractor or who sells playground equipment would be, that would be the best thing I could get.
Okay, thank you. Is this Miss Chaya? Miss Vesta? All right, Mr. Darius. Okay, is it anyone, someone I'm going to first pass. Okay, there you go.
Hey, I'm here. Good evening, peace and love. How's everyone? Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I would say, so we have a consultant firm and we do business development in the federal government space as well as in the private sector. And we often use other staffing firms to fill slots that we need to have filled that we may not have folks sitting on the bench to support. And we also tap into other business development firms that may have relationships, and we negotiate on deals to bring them into the piece, or maybe somebody else that they're working with to leverage that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Do one more pass as someone did. Was it Miss Sally, Miss Naya? Is anyone on here that wanted to say a few words that I missed on the first pass before I?
Hi. Oh,
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go right ahead.
sorry. I missed I just got inside, just came inside the house, and the baby is in the background. So I just
All right.
missed the
Okay.
last question.
The question is, the mastermind is, what is one business another business can use to operate their business?
I would say staffing agencies. I know I work in a law firm, and I know sometimes in talent acquisition, and it can be kind of difficult trying to fill a role. So I heavily rely on staffing agencies and contractors in the past and even right now to kind of fill positions. So that would be one of the things I know that's not talked about a lot, but I know provides valuable service to companies and just people in general, people who are looking for jobs and people who are looking to fill jobs.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else that didn't get a chance that got on there before I want to say what I want to say?
Hey, Everett, you here?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about this tape here. I don't know if you said it right. I thought you said my name, but I didn't know. But being in the finance sector, kind of helping small businesses and medium-sized businesses in regards to access to capital, I think it was a very important points that I believe, I don't want to get the name wrong, Vernon, correct? Corporate attorney?
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry.
Yeah. So what he's speaking on, because me working with large institutions and medium-sized businesses, one thing that he's pointing out that business should be aware of is that we do get in this notion that we don't have the same types of access to capital that other organizations, other people in different demographics have. But one thing I found is outside of your first line support being your customer base being friends and family, there are those organizations, right, outside of your traditional banks or so, that there are avenues in which you can get small amounts of capital for small things for your business. Understanding how to leverage your own personal credit, right, to start yourself up for your business moving forward, to access capital in the right way where you're not using debt in terms of spending it in a bad way, right, where you're not really getting return on the money you're taking, but understanding how to leverage yourself in a position where your returns outweigh with any interest that you pay. So consulting and speaking with business owners about the strategies in regards to staying afloat, especially during COVID, because one of the biggest things with liquidity issues is that you had the PPE fund came in and majority of the money went to a lot of larger organizations, right? Because they have relationships with those banks. And particularly with our minority communities, Black businesses, I think there's less than the percentage is astronomical in regards to the amount of people who weren't given access to capital in regards to staying afloat, right? And so these are important factors in regards to how do you go to find the money, right? Because there are certain avenues, but it's about finding the right type of people and stuff that you can work with to help you find that capital, right? And it's a lot more complex than just anybody feel like you can go and just apply to a loan. There's a lot of things involved with it, right? So being aware of things like your credit and using that to strategize yourself, putting yourself in a position where you're able to build and utilize business credit for yourself, right? Understanding the different importances of how that works, and also staying close to policy and to wrap it up, because I don't know if people know this, but an important thing that's changing in 2021 is with the credit. It's a lot harder in regards to qualification of getting access to capital in regards to traditional loans and credit. And so I think it's important that you're aware.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. So your point was having somebody that can advise you on finances.
Yeah,
Consider like business financial consultant. There's actual.
No, we got it. We got it. But we definitely appreciate it. We wanted to make sure we got everybody on though. Is there anybody else that we didn't?
I just have one thing that I'm going to say. I have like two. You want to have a stay in touch with your people you do your banking with. Get a relationship with your banker. Whoever you bank with, go in there and chat it up with your banker. And also keep a real estate person near you as well, because you may need some real estate for your personal, or you may need some for your business. They can get the research done for you so that you can get your property at a reasonable price.
So one of the things the purpose of a mastermind is, with the wealth of information that is within our network, a lot of times if you was to go and hire a consultant, even the information you just got now will maybe cost you a few $100s. One of the things that I hope everybody was able to kind of grasp out of this particular session is, when you start your business or when you're developing your business, you need to make a list of partnerships to help your business function. So a lot of times you can't be the chef and the CEO. You only can be one at a time. But with partnerships and relationships, you can get a lot more done. So the theme that we constantly heard tonight is having somebody that can assist you with finances, having somebody that can assist you with your taxes, having somebody that can assist customers in your customers' needs, and with your marketing. I think those was the 4 top points, right? Everett.
And make sure you have that attorney in there.
And an attorney. So just with my wife's business, we was able to contact what's his name? Anthony Butler, who was a partner of BPM, to help her get her legal advice for her business. We went to Rashad Holloway, CPA, to help get her business established. We was able to do consulting with a lot of the members on her image, her logo, some of the messaging. So a lot of the tools that one would pay a lot of money for, we was able to get those resources free just because of the network.
Absolutely.
Are you good?
Mr. Collins.
So Cornell, are we going to go to the health tip?
Sure, I'm ready if you guys are.
All right.
Yes, sir. We'll switch gears and we'll go to a health tip from Mr. Cornell.
All right. I had a little trouble with my Wi-Fi earlier. So I'm gonna give you 2, but quick, because I know what time it is. So one thing is have yourself an accountability buddy. So whether that's a workout buddy, whether that's a personal trainer, whether it's somebody you like that does virtual workouts that you like looking at, it could be any of that. The other thing is to do things that you like to do. So we're going to be putting out on BPM's page a 7-day health challenge. So for instance, if a lot of people say eat salad. Well, if you don't like salad, that's not really going to work for you. We're all adults. You know what you kind of like and don't like. So don't try to eat a salad. Try to drink a smoothie or try to put something healthier in your diet that you can do, because you got to have those small wins. So because of time, that's going to be it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the fitness tip. Also, just to touch bases on a previous conversation, make the attempt to go 30 days without eating out. Right? Make that attempt. Make the sacrifice of, going shopping and meal prepping. to overall save you some money, allow you opportunities to invest.
We Collins and Vimroy, you got to have your clients, and I got to have mine.
Sadid, what do we have next on the agenda?
We have the president's report.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I guess that's me. Before we get to that, John, you had a question. You had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I just had a question for Dalen Allen. Do you do any work focusing on nonprofit analytics?
Well, that's actually was one of my very first projects. I haven't in about 6 years, but that's something I can look back to.
Okay, thank you.
So I definitely want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Black professional men, our mission is to ensure the future of African American males. We simply believe a stronger man makes a stronger family, makes a stronger community. What we do in short is we help men make their goals a reality. Now, we do understand that although our mission is to ensure the future of African American male, we cannot ensure their future without also ensuring the futures of our queens and our sisters. So our focus is on everybody. From 0 to 18, our youth development committee focuses on the youth. From 16 to 24, our college development committee focuses on that age. Our economic development committee, they focus on 16 to 60, working through the full life cycle of entering the job market, becoming a seasoned employee, and then exiting the job market. We have our community relations. We work on from 0 to 100. And our health and family matters committee focuses on 0 to 100. Now, the task of ensuring the future of African American males, there's no silver bullet. So there's no one thing that we try to do or try to present that can help just one person. What we do is we create a platform where men and families are able to plug into, and they're able to inherit the pieces of the components that they are missing to help accomplish their goals. So what does this mean? This means that our organization will look different to every single person that is in it. Now, our organization works like kinetic energy. That means the more motion, the more activities you do, the more energy you will feel. Now, if you come in and you want to sit around and you want to wait and watch what's going on, you may have a different experience. Now, our committees, they have been very busy as there's a lot of work to go on. With our youth development, we just did adjusting to COVID, we did a drive-through for trick-or-treating. We also did deliveries for food for underprivileged families for Thanksgiving. One of the projects that is upcoming is we're going to be launching a series of young boys virtual conferences that's going to run every quarter. We also are launching or trying to re-engage our financial literacy program, i.e. it will be virtual, but we're working to do that. And with our financial literacy program, it all starts with a college savings plan. So the goal is not just to throw information out to our youth, but to provide them the tools that they can start using at a young age. So the families, if you're able to start as a 5th grader and saving money for their college, there's a different conversation that is had. The conversation is no longer, am I going to college? The conversation is, which college am I going to? Now, it is easy to say you need to start a college savings fund. It's easy to say that. But What we have done is we have created a fundraiser that schools and families can engage in that will raise funds where the lion's share of that will go towards the college savings fund. So all we're doing is utilizing the business model of the Boy Scouts. Instead of you earning this to get uniforms and stuff like that and to go on field trips, this money is going to go to your future. So that's what our youth development is working on. Another project that we have that's going to start at the beginning of the year, which I'm very excited about, is we're going to launch a nonprofit improvement series. This is a 20-week boot camp for nonprofits for them to be able to help understand how to quantify your worth to put yourself in the best position to be able to get grants and increase your sponsorships. And that's going to be every Saturday starting at 12 o'clock on our networking platforms. And it's free. You're able to plug in and you're able to do that. Now, we're also working on with Leroy McKenzie, he's one of the people that is spearheading this, is a business toolkit. Now, one of the reasons why we talked about the financial ecosystem and talked about what businesses we have, what businesses can help other businesses, is because the business toolkit is designed to allow people to share resources. So I had a call yesterday and we was talking about some businesses in Baltimore and what they need to be able to do to become successful. And the reality is, if a business has a mechanism to be able to collect customers' information, they can be able to communicate better with their customers. Everybody will agree. But every business owner doesn't know how to do that. Every business owner may feel like they cannot afford a virtual assistant. However, by pooling your resources, then you can. Now, with the business toolkit, like any other toolbox, there's the right tool for the right job. Just because this toolkit is going to have about 15 to 20 tools doesn't mean you're going to need to use them all at once. So what does that mean? That means that with this toolkit, you're able to start off with the business coach as a tool to help you better understand what tools you want to start with. Now, based on what type of toolkit you would like to get for your business will determine if you're able to get an initial consultation by a coach, or is that coach a regular piece of that toolkit. But this is something that is available to everybody that's in our network. Now, we also have a virtual platform. With this virtual platform, it's a virtual conference platform. And one of the things that we are working to do is we found that virtual platforms in a lot of situations are very cost prohibitive to small businesses and nonprofits in our community. So what we did was we leveraged our relationships and we was able to procure a virtual platform and now make it available to all of our partners at an affordable rate. Now, even at an affordable rate, we understand that there are some situations where our partners may have a fear that they cannot afford this. And we still have situations there that can assist. So there's a whole lot more that is going on. Now, there's one more thing I need to announce. So December 1st, we closed our scholarships applications. And so this afternoon, I was pleasantly surprised to see that we received 30 applicants for our scholarship program. Now, our scholarship program is different than what it was in the past. All right. What we're doing now is we're bringing in youth from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and we're going to pour into them until they graduate. The previous years, we was only able to get these young kings when they was in the 12th grade. And we had a limited amount of time to be able to pour into them. Now, one of the things that people may say is, what is so important? What is so different about our scholarship program? I would say is there's nothing different but one thing. The one thing that is different about our scholarship program is that we bring back our scholars from the previous year, and they're able to pour into those scholars for the next year. Why is that important? I'm 44 years old. If I talk to an 18-year-old, he's seeing that I don't know exactly what I'm talking about because what I went through was over 20 years ago. But when they hear it from somebody that's a year old, it's a little bit different. To give you an example, I had the privilege of sitting in on one of the sessions. And one of the things that these young kings pass on to the next generation is when you first get to school, you don't go there and party. The first day, you go and you walk the campus and you find out where every class is. Now, you know what? 20 years ago, I didn't think of that. But they say on that first day of school, there's no alarm clocks. There's nobody pointing you around to where you need to be. So you need to be there on your own. And you need not to wait till that morning to try to figure out where you need to be. Because that tuition is non-refundable, as they point that out. Now, this sounds different coming from a 19-year-old to an 18-year-old versus coming from a 40-year-old to an 18-year-old. It's better received. I would say that's one of the biggest differences between our scholarship program and others. I'm not saying that our scholarship program is better than anybody else's. I'm just saying that we have ours is slightly different. Now, our scholarship program is funded through our membership. Every BPM member, 50% of their dues goes towards our scholarship program. So everybody may have received some information about how they can contribute to our scholarship program. Now, this is the type of year, or this has been a year that's been very challenging to people. So we know that there's people who may want to help, but may not be able to financially do that. And that's fine. We have people who have provide services to us that help defer costs, that contributes to our scholarship program. We have fundraisers that our members and supporters can engage in so that they can use their sweat equity and their time, where they may have more time than money, to contribute to our scholarship program. Now, we do have a few layers of membership. Now, we have a lifetime membership, which I took advantage of that. The lifetime membership, there's two levels. The first level, there's a $5,000 investment over 10 years through a life insurance policy. And then it's a $10,000 investment over 10 years, which is also a life insurance policy. And we was exposed to this concept because this is the same exact technique that Ohio State uses. And so what this does, it will allow, the way we have it set up, it would allow that person who gets that scholarship in 20 years, they're able to get an additional scholarship in their name awarded to a youth. So just think about that. Today, you're able to start something that's going to benefit somebody that's not even born yet. I want y'all to sit there and let that soak in for you. Okay. Then, as we all know, everybody will have a day where they will transition. And at that point, when you do have that day, that gift, if you did $5,000, it would be a $25,000 gift that will come and fund our scholarship program. If you did $10,000, when that day comes, there would be a $50,000 gift that will come to our scholarship program. So we've been doing this scholarship program for over 25 years. and we've raised over $250,000. So what we have determined is we need to make sure our focus is not on today, but is on the next 25 years. Our organization turns 30 next year. And so I think it's only right for us to do things today that ensures that we turn 50. And so anybody who is interested in that, that information is on our website, and or you can request information from us directly. Now, we're not expecting everybody or a lot of people to engage in the lifetime level, but you can start off with the smaller level, which the level that just says, I'm here. And you can use sweat equity, or you can use the annual donation towards our scholarship program to do that. Are there any questions about any of the programs or the initiatives that I shared? All right, well, I definitely appreciate everybody's time, and I will turn it back over to Collins.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And additional information is available on the BPM website that has been posted in the chat. Please take some time to check out the BPM website to get further information. Mr. Shadid, is there anything that we have left on the agenda outside of closing remarks?
Yes, we're going to just close with a basic call to action. So here on the blackprofessionalmen.org site, which you can also get to from your smartphone, you can go to become a member. And there's an application here to join now and fill out the information. Is there anyone who would like to become a member this evening? By a show of hands. Anyone who is tuned in on a broadcast who would like to become a member of BPM, whether through sweat equity or through a beginning donation to get started? Okay, so when it comes to the organization as a whole, keep in mind that your talent has a match through our network. So if you're a business owner, if you are, let's say, a professional of some sort with a specialized skill or talent, if you're an event host, it is one of the biggest challenges is operating on an island on your own. One of the riskiest things you can do, especially in these times, is to operate in a solo. So business is not a solo sport. Success is a team sport. So we at BPM, the network is generational, and that it's been around since 1991. And many people, of course, are older. So within this region, there's a lot of referrals and partnerships that exist. So you want to be a part of that to accelerate your path to success much sooner. Once again, you can go to the BPM website in order to register. Now, for the ladies, because one of the frequently asked questions is, I'm a lady, the organization is called Black Professional Men. Where do I fit into this? Am I even allowed at the meetings? First of all, it is co-ed. All ladies are welcome to support. And a lot of our behind the scenes processes are run by our queens within the organization. So there is a power couples membership as well, where if you and your significant other want to join and your spouse can have access to various benefits, that's number one. And there's also a supporter tier of membership as well, where if you want to make a donation to ensure the future of African-American males through our scholarship program, then you, Miss Lady, can also donate to that cause. So let's close it out, Collins. That is all I have.
Well, thank you guys for being a part of this meeting. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts. Please check out the BPM website. We would love to have you guys as members or supporters. And we wish you a great night. Thank you.
If I can make one announcement.
Yes, sir.
In the chat, I put in the dates for the virtual holiday experience. It will be in the link tree for our virtual venue link tree. I'll put that in the chat as well. Make sure you click that 3 dot at the bottom of the chat so you can save the chat and have that as well. We're looking for sponsors as well as vendors for the virtual holiday experience. Thank you to all of our partners that help with the kickoff virtual holiday experience. They happen over the Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Small Business Saturday. So this will be stretching a 3-day as well. And the event is actually up and live. I will send that link over as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. I'm saving the chat as we speak now. Be sure to save the chat to get the information so you can connect, build relationships, and network. If that is nothing, if there's nothing else, thank you guys and have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Good night,
Peace.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.